imposter. He would be Dajjal, the false Messiah, who is known as the Antichrist. In order for Jerusalem to be eventually liberated, in order for the Holy Land to be liberated, Europe waged war for 1,000 years. They call it a jihad too, holy war. For 1,000 years. They were called the Crusades. In 1917, a British general, a man named Allenby, entered into Jerusalem with a British army, liberating Jerusalem finally. And guess what he said? As he entered Jerusalem, he said, "Today the Crusades have ended." The cat is out of the bag. A secular Britain was faithfully pursuing a holy war. Isn't it interesting? A secular Britain eventually was able to bring a holy war to a successful conclusion. But in order for that British army to not only enter Jerusalem, liberate the Holy Land, but also to do one more thing, to preside over the eventual emergence of a state of Israel. Remember, Britain ruled over Palestine from 1918 to 1948 for 30 years on a mandate conferred by the League of Nations. Muhammad Iqbal called it the League of Thieves. In order for Britain to do that and to allow Israel to be born in 1948 and to survive, it was necessary to cut off the head, to behead Islam. So long as the Khilafah remained, the Muslim world could be mobilized into a military force that would create serious problems for Britain. And so there is an attack on the Khilafah. It began with Jewish bankers in Europe. Jewish bankers who approached the Khalifa in Istanbul and persuaded him to borrow on interest. Yeah, riba. And when the Khalifa in Istanbul could not repay the loans on interest, then they sat down with him and they said, "Let's make a deal." And the Khalifa asked, "What's the deal?" And then they said, "Well, we will reschedule your loans for you if you will abolish from Darul Islam something called dhimmi." Dhimmi. A Jew or a Christian who is allowed to reside in the territory of Islam. But you don't have to pay zakat. Instead, you will pay jizya. So you must abolish jizya. Oh, but jizya is in the Quran. حَتَّى يُؤْتَى الْجِزْيَةَ عَنْ يَدٍ وَهُمْ صَاغِرُونَ. It is a part of the international conception of an international order. How can I abolish that, which is in the Quran? But they persuaded him. And I think it was somewhere around 1857, if I'm not wrong, that the Khalifa in Istanbul issued a proclamation abolishing jizya. abolishing the dhimmi status of non-Muslims. So this financial blackmail was pursued until eventually the Ottoman Islamic Empire was forced to enter into the First World War. There is an uncanny similarity between 9/11 and something which occurred in the summer of 1914. The summer of 1914 is a crucial moment in history. Remember, the objective is to cut off the head of Islam. The Khilafah must disintegrate and must be replaced with a new kind of a state, because we do not want that religious call which can summon the whole world of Islam for jihad. We don't want that. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, and I never understood the history. I never understood this hadith until my wife and I went to visit Kimberley in South Africa. Kimberley is a town where the biggest diamond mine in the world is located. The Kimberley diamonds. You must have given one to your wife at the time of your marriage. Kimberley diamond. An African child was playing and stumbled across a big stone and picked it up, took it home to his parents, who looked at the stone and said, this may be something valuable, and took it to the British commissioner, who then sent it to Johannesburg, and it was discovered to be the biggest diamond in the world. Where did you find it? The hadith is that the earth would uncover its riches, its wealth for Dajjal. The Dajjal will be able to go down into the bottom of the earth to be able to extract the wealth that was hidden there. That's the hadith. When they went to that location where that diamond was discovered, Britain had the technology to be able to locate underneath, way down below, what is called diamond veins. No one else in the world could have done that. Africa would have remained with that for 1,000 years. Africa would never have discovered those diamonds. No. Only Britain. Because of a scientific and technological revolution. And so the excavation began. And they used all kind of tricks to get African labor. Muhammad Abraham, who is here, was explaining to me yesterday or the day before one of the tricks, that you have to pay taxes, and you can't pay taxes with a backyard fowl or chicken or with a horse. You got to pay your taxes with paper currency. And if you want to get your paper currency, you're going to have to go and work for us in the mines, and we'll pay you in that paper, which you can then use to pay your taxes. And of course, we'll give you a lot of fire water. And the fire water will be used to drown away all your worries. Cecil John Rhodes was the master of deception. Cecil John Rhodes presided over this. And they went down into the mines of Kimberley. And I went there and I saw this biggest man-made hole in the world. You could put down about 5 jumbo jets inside there in that hole. Did you hear that? You could send about 5 jumbo jets inside of that hole. That's how big it is. At the bottom of that hole, they found the diamond vein.